Hello, and today I have a review of the Kato Metra F40PH right here, and this is a very nice model, and I have it with Loksound, but I did not buy it factory with Loksound. I saved like $20 or so by installing it myself, which wasn't too hard, and I installed it into a DCC ready version. So first we can look on the sides of the detail. All these white parts, all here, are you have to install. They're modular installed, and so you have all the handrails and stuff, even the windshield wipers you have to install. There's 4, as you can see there, and actually the number boards you also have to install. But this version comes with the marker lights, the headlight, and the reverser lights, and it has, I think it's the sanding cap. Not sure what that. No, that's not sanding. It's some sort of power or something, or MU. And talking about MU, we have the snowplow, the Kato couplers, coupler lift bar, and you have modular installed MU cables, which come separately, and you have to install them one at a time. And if you go to this side has 2 of them. That's the model, and has very crisp writing, as you can see, and the decals, they're very good decals and very precise and accurate. And we have the trucks, which have lots of detail, and underbody, which has, and you can kind of see right there, maybe not so much, but there's piping and stuff like that. And so we have the fuel tank and whatever this stuff is, and that's about it for the sides. And the back, you have to install all these, which is kind of hard, but and the one thing they did forget is that there's a warning sticker about right next to the handle. I have pictures of that on Metra. I think it was 146. I have pictures of that. And here's the side. You have the air compressor tanks, which lead to they have pipes and stuff. And so that's just about it. And then we have the roof, which it has all the fans, and I don't know if that's dynamic. I don't think they have dynamic, but exhaust and air conditioning units. I don't know what that is. It has beacons like the prototypical do. It's just that they're not on, which this is a fake beacon, just a little plastic mold, and it has the prototypical orange horn. And if we go to under it, there's not too much, but there is detail on the sides, as I said. So like I said, I got this with DCC, and so I'll show you the inside and what it looks like. Okay, so to get into the inside of the locomotive, you just take the bottom portion and the shell just kind of pops right out, and you get these. And I shorted my whole entire power pack out, so I'll go turn the track power off. Okay, so here in the top part, you have your speaker housing with the speaker I have in there right now. You have this weight on the top, and if you take that off, there's this little suction about right here to here. You might be able to see the lines right there that you can just pull off. And you have all of your sliding stuff that goes from the LEDs on the board to the front of the locomotive. Now the only bad part about this is that the ditch lights, the headlight, and all the markers are all on the same LED, which means the ditch lights cannot oscillate or even be separate. And so it does come with a reverser light. You can see here, right there, and you have your marker lights, which have a red LED go through a red fiber optic that go there. So that's a nice red glow it has. And I have the quick plug with my decoder, which I just fit into here, and it fits. I used to have it like this, but I found a way to fit it where you could have the decoder sideways like this, and it fits well. So now let's go see the light functions. Okay, so now off with the sound functions. And to start this locomotive, you have to press that function 8 button. This locomotive I have is with Loksound. So for Loksound, standardly it's off, but you have to press the F8 button and turn the locomotive on, just like this. So to turn the locomotive off, you just press F8 again, and because this locomotive is very loud, I'm going to be turning it off. So our first function is the headlight, and turn this on. It's a nice golden light, and golden and white light. And so if you put the locomotive in reverse, the headlights turn off, the marker lights go off, and it might be a little hard to see because my light's here. If I just move this away a little further, there. And so the marker lights are on, and you turn that, the headlights are back on, and you turn it back into forward. So it does have that, and reverse light goes on when you put it in reverse like that, and the lights do fade. And so our first function is going to be function, that's the bell, and that is programmed for an E-bell, but it does have another bell, which I will put up. The second bell, which you use by programming CV48 to 64. And that bell is, they say it's the air bell, but a lot of people. Our first function would be the bell, which that's F1, function 1. And Loksound claims that is an air bell, which it is closer than their E-bell, which I'll be programming right now while I'm talking. But that they claim that is their E-bell, but most people agree. Most people think that is an E-bell instead of their regular EMD steel bell, which the Metra locomotives have. And so here's the E-bell. I have to compliment them on their E-bell sounds, that it does sound very well. But like I said, that the steel bell sounds more like an E-bell than a steel bell it's supposed to be. Anyways, our next function is the horn. And the normal horn would be a K5LA. And it does give you a lot of horn control, and so you can have a short or a long. So you have lots of horn control. lot of control over the horn, which is very nice to have. And our next function, I believe, is a coupler. Yeah, that's the coupler. And for the rest of these, I need to pull up the file thing to tell you what these are. So I'll be right back. Okay, so the next function is a dynamic braking, which means I'm going to have to turn the engine on, and to turn it on fast, you can actually have it running. Like, this is going to be one speed step, and then press F8. And so that was a dynamic brake. And F5 is HEP mode, also known as head end power. And this is when the locomotive goes into notch 8 to supply power to the whole entire train. So I also have to turn this one on, and it gets very loud. So I cannot talk at all while I have this on. Now I'm going to activate HEP mode. HEP mode. Okay, so that was head end power mode, which gets very loud, and one of the compressors is something, I forgot what it's called, but that also turned on while it was at notch 8. So function 6 is actually for ditch lights, which this locomotive does not have, so it's just function 1 and 2 for ditch lights. So F7 would be switching mode, which means when activated, it has very slow motor control. Like, this is F3 with it. Here's it without. And you can't tell much of a difference until we get to the higher. So this is 10. And here's with. See how it goes slower? Here's 20 switching mode, 20 normal. So that is switching mode, which is just pretty much the limit is half of what the normal is, which would be useful for switching, obviously. So next we have F8, which just turns the prime mover or the sound on and off, which I explained earlier. And so F9 and F10 are manual notching up and down, which I will show. This is F9. When you hold it, it goes up, and when you turn it off, it stays. Notching down. Now, F11 is supposed to be a radiator sound, and it has in parentheses fan, so I'm guessing the radiator fan sound. But when I try using it, I hear no difference, and it could be that it turns the timer on or off or something like that, but I do not hear any difference when I have it on. So, let's go to F12, which dims the headlight. You might be able to see that. Yeah, you can see all the lights dim. If it also, I don't know if it works in reverse or anything. And it works for all LEDs. Okay. The next one is a rail clank, and it only works if F8 is on, so I need to turn that on. So the rail clank is the clanks when it goes over diamonds, which I didn't know about, and I would love to have, because I just love the sound of rail clanks over diamonds. And so now we have F17, which is the brake set/release. So I'm guessing when you turn it on, the brakes are kind of like activated, and when you have them off, it doesn't activate. So let's hear. Oopsies, it's the other one is set on. Okay. Let's hear the brakes. brake squeal. So now it's on. So I don't hear any difference at all. So I do not hear any difference at all. So now we have F18, which I believe will work without, which is a sanding valve. So that's the activation of the sanding valves. So if you don't know what sanding is, it's when there's little valves that shoot sand into the bottom of the wheels to create friction, and it works quite well if it's in wet or slippery conditions. So now we have F19 is the short air let off. Yep, that's what it is. And F20 is a compressor. Let's hear it. It might have to be turned on. Yeah, it probably has to be turned on. So, let's turn on the engine again. So, this is the compressor. And our last function is function 21, and that is the pop valve sound. Now I have it on. So I think with it on, it prevents the popping, and with it off, it probably lets them. So let's see. Yeah, now it's on, and you can hear the popping. So when this value is on, you don't have them, and when it's off, you do have them. So I don't know if you can hear me, but what I said is that when this value is on, it turns the settings off, and when it's off, and when the function is off, then it lets the pops go, which seems to be some of them. And the compressor, when you put it on, the compressor goes on, and when you turn it off, the compressor goes off. So that is about it for all the sound functions, and I might be doing all the horns and having all those, but that's about it. So let's go on to the horns now. Now we are on the horns. And to get program these different horns, you have to set CV48 to the different values of the horns, and it goes from 1 to 15, which means they have 16 horns. So first we're going to start off with the Nathan K5LA. And here it is. So that is a Nathan K5LA, and now I have to program it, so I'll be right back. Next off, we have the Nathan K3. Next off, we have the Nathan M5. That is the Nathan M5. And now we have the Nathan P3. And so that horn has a lot of nice fast control. And so that is the Nathan P3. Now this claims that it's a Nathan P5A, but it sounds exactly like the M5. But here it is anyways. Well, anyways, there's the P5A. Next off, we have the Leslie S2B, and I believe this is what I have on my. This is close to what it has on the Metra cab cars. These are the steel cab cars, and not the new Nippon Shiro, I believe it's pronounced. Cab cars. Those come with K3LAs. Anyways, here is Leslie S2B. That's Leslie S2B. Next off, we have the Leslie A200. And that is a Leslie A200. Now this horn is easily my most favorite horn that Loksound has. And so this is the Leslie S3, which is basically part of the RS3L. It's just that the RS3L is more specifically tuned. So that is the Leslie S3. Now we have the Leslie S5. That's the Leslie S5. Next off, we have the Leslie M3. So that is the Leslie this is the Leslie M. Actually, I believe I was wrong in saying that the Leslie A200, that Leslie S2B was what the Metra cab cars had, because this is the Wabco A2, and I believe this is actually what they have. So, this is the Wabco A2. So, that is the Wabco A2, and like I said, I believe this is the one that they have on Metra cab cars. Here is the Wabco E2. So that is the Wabco E2. Now this is my second favorite Loksound horn, and this is the Holden K5H. So that is the Holden K5H. The next horn is a Nathan Holden M3H. I don't know why the other one was just a Holden K5H, but whatever. That's what they have down. So this is a Nathan Holden this is the Nathan Holden M3H. And the recording, you can tell, has quite an echo. So that is the Nathan Holden M3. This one is the Fairbanks Morse Train Master. So that's the Fairbanks Morse Train Master. Now if you set CV48 to 15, now I don't have anything for it, and it says that the Fairbanks Morse Train Master was the last. But if you listen to this, I believe this is the S5. And so that does sound very similar. That does sound like the S5. So now the mystery is what the S5 really is. So I'll go back at it and I'll tell you what I think that Leslie S5 recording really is. Now, what I believe the Leslie S5 recording is actually the P5A, because if you remember earlier, the P5A was actually replaced by a different horn. It was kind of skipped over, and on this list it says it has this is actually 15 horns and not the 16. So I believe that this is the P5A, and let me tell you what just tell me what you think, but I really think this is the P5A. Like I said, it says it's the S5, but I think this is the P5A. I did some research, and it does sound like the P5 and the M5 are switched, and I don't know what's in place of the S5, but I do know that number 15 does sound exactly like an RS5T. That's the one. That does sound exactly like it. So, I do believe that and I found out that the P5A that it has, which I think is in, which is the program 2, and I do think that the P5A, it is an old cast P5A, which is why I did not recognize it as well. Anyways, that sounds perfectly like the M5. So actually the P5 and M5 I believe are not flipped. So that is the M5, and let me switch over to the P5. And so the M5 and the P5 are actually fine. So it's P5. Okay, so this P5A is an old cast P5A. Now I just have to figure out what's in place of the S5, but I'm kind of clueless right now. It could be another P5 or something like that. But that's not my problem. Well, it's not my fault, so I might go looking that up. But anyways, that's about it for the review. So thanks for watching, and I hope you liked it. And right now, here's a pretty good shot of all the detail of the front. Let's zoom in a little bit. There you go. And that's a nice close-up of all the detail. And so overall, I really do like this locomotive. It's very nice, and you'll have very many hours of fun and running I will use it for. So thanks for watching, and please rate, comment, and subscribe. Now I'm going to do motor control, and so this is pretty well. This is speed step 1. And this is speed step 2. Still a little jerky, but once you get up to speed step 3, it gets a little better. And then speed step 4, it's nice and smooth. And let's put it in reverse. It's getting out of my frame. And let's move it a little faster. Speed step 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then 20. And it's very smooth, and it does not run out of power very often. And so let's move it forward at about 70. And now it brakes pretty fast, but it is a passenger locomotive. So that's about it for the motor control, and now I'm going to go on to sound.